Apologize for the technical issues. I think it was on my end, but I think I got it squared away. So I have my guru, Royce Ramos, up at Nomad Cali in the Palisades Mall in West Nyack, New York. It's where I train. I've been very, very fortunate and blessed to meet Guru Royce. Um, and we're here today to talk about some knives. We're going to talk about different knife signatures, so to speak. And how you doing, Royce?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me again, Coach. Hello, everybody in internet world.
So why don't we start by explaining how knives fit into Pakiti Tertia in Cali in the Filipino martial arts world, where they fit in. Are they for self-defense? Are they tactical? Are they how knives fit in?
Well, let's face it. Knives are a tool. That's the reality. Any tool can be utilized as a weapon. That's our philosophy. In where they for anything that can for any kind of implementation that can be utilized to apply force or damage, that's anything goes in the tactical world, right? Law enforcement, military, you know, shoot, even corrections. If you can utilize it to your benefit, that's what it's there for. Knives have always been a part since a long time ago. Remember, before there was even firearms, knives were around. Short blades, stone blades, obsidian blades, down to simple sticks. First weapon of man is a stick. Second with a rock. Somewhere along the line they figured out, we could put it together and club somebody over the head with. So, and that's where, where what I find a lot of people in the tactical world who love guns and, hey, I bought my first AR. I'm good. I love shooting. I wish I was able to do it more often than I have been able to. But the reality is, everything has time to get to, right? To get to my sidearm, to get to my hip, to get to my conceal and carry, to get to my drawer. And then after that, I have to what? Draw, rack, point, shoot. In some cases, if at home, if you're a proper gun user, you have to grab the gun from one side, grab your magazine from the other. You have to, you have to load and lock. What are you gonna do? It's knife is. I'm gonna grab. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, knife never jams. It doesn't have to be reloaded. So that's the tactical advantage, especially in close quarters of a knife. Let's talk about the basic types of knives. And I'm going to use this one to illustrate because it's a big knife. This is a K-bar. It's really for camping. It's pretty heavy. This is for chopping and cutting up wood. But we'll use this one. And what we have here, Guru, are what? So the blade, and this part is the tang. And this is the blade and tang run right through. It goes right to the end. And then on the end we have this is a window breaker. This can also be used as a weapon. This would be the butt end, or in Filipino language, a puño, correct? Mm-hmm. And then this knife doesn't have it, but on top, a lot of knives will put called jimping, correct? Guru?
Yes.
And it gives you a little bit better grip when you grab it in this hammer position.
Correct. So in looking at lock blades or folders, I should say, when you have a blade, like this here is an old Strider knife. I found this in the Philippines at a bodega. A few of them, unfortunately, didn't have any extra little cash to buy more, but considering how cheap it was, I would have bought the whole lot of them. Now, so on the back, like you're talking about the jimping, right? Depending on the blade, if it's straight or like this, part of the reason why I like this is one of my favorite blades I've ever had to carry in the folder, because that jimping allows you to put pressure forward on it. Now, again, remember, folders are not the best knives in terms of personal defense, but they are usable. You don't need much to cut into flesh. You need that much to cut into flesh. Because the skin is only that thick. So that's why when you go under the knife in surgery, they don't take a big knife to cut into you. They take a little scalpel to do the rest, right? It'll get into your skin. So it doesn't really matter. But the the problem is with like folders, they don't have a full tang or a tang. They don't have the blade doesn't go all the way
Right.
in per se. So everything is kind of locked into place. Knives that have a tang, right, like which are straight, not non-folders or one piece like yours, right, like this one here, um, right. This is
Yeah, you can
a
see the tang runs right through it, right all the way
yeah,
to the end. It's
right. This
one
is called a
piece.
full tang, right? There's no pummel, but you can still use the butt end, the punyo. It's a mock double edge, so it's not sharp here on the back edge, but it is edge enough to allow for good piercing and raking with it. Um, no jimping. This is this damn camera. It's on the opposite flat, and so it's very smooth. It's all one piece, right? And this is just simple, elegant, straightforward. This is a Salisky piece.
Mhm.
He was on Fortune Fire. I actually found this knife the other day at a gun show up in Middletown, and it's a very comfortable knife. I could choose any grip I want for this. It'll work in regards. And again, all else fails, if you don't know how to use and don't do a bunch of this, all you need is a good old hammer grip. Grab that knife, you punch with the knife, that blade goes into you. You punch forward, that blade goes into your opponent. It's not rocket science. You know,
And
you know.
one of the other knives that's particular to the Filipino martial arts is the karambit, which is a hook blade. Okay, it's got a retainer ring. In most cases, I think single edge are legal, double edge are illegal in New Jersey, I believe.
Well, that's actually one of the few good things about New Jersey.
Yeah. So anyway,
But it's in with the karambit, right? Now karambits are
again,
where are you? I have one right here. Little gift from one of my students' parents, right? So I think it's the same make and model considering the design,
yeah,
but this had that little blue steel kind of glint to it. So traditionally, most of these are usually double edged. Um, um, in double edged knives have been made illegal in New York State. Whatever. I don't know about New Jersey. I believe so also.
yeah, they are.
However, the karambit itself, most people are like, this has become something of a fancy thing people just love because of the movies, right? But and yes, you could use it as a tool. In the Philippines, we use it as a tool. In Indonesia, Malaysia, that we use it as a tool.
What do they use
Climbing,
it for? Like in the fields
yeah, you could grab
yeah,
it, tool, and of course, self defense wise. But you
right,
know, it's very easy to grab, easy to grip, and very simple. You can punch with it, right? If I punch straight forward, that blade moves directly into somebody.
right.
Boom.
Which is great because if you do have any martial arts background, whether it's karate or any striking skills, you could use
Boxing,
this
yeah.
boxing in particular. You can throw a straight shot, you can throw a hook with it, and it's really going to
Hmm.
come across. And it's also used for trapping, correct? That's why it's got the eagle claw kind of for
Well, yeah,
trapping and cutting at the same time, really.
basically when you pinch that arm down on somebody with a blade inward, then you
Yeah.
just pull it. That's no longer a trap. That's just cutting tendon.
So,
It's really. But
but
this is brutal.
the biggest difference between the karambit and the straight blade is the reach, correct? So in other words, if I'm holding this in a hammer grip, I can really get out far. My reach can get out really far. With this, because it's a shorter blade, my reach is going to be a little bit shorter, right?
Correct. So with straight blade versus assuming they're both the same length, right? These two are about the same length in terms of blade length. Yeah,
Yeah,
four
so are
inches.
these. So are these,
So,
yeah.
but if I'm using this in what we call a hammer grip, right? Right? Oh, excuse me,
Yeah.
hammer grip, pakal grip, ice pick grip,
Oh,
right?
ice pick, right.
And so if I'm boxing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pakal grip, the karambit has the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But in again, if you're talking in like fighting an edge, if you have a weapon, reach is your friend, especially when dealing with another person with a weapon, right? I want to have as much reach as possible. And even though this is good, right, I can get more reach here,
Correct. Right.
right?
So what I would do, and I practice this, I'll have the karambit in my left hand as my jabbing. Let me make sure I'm getting this. Trying to figure out the camera. Anyway, so I'm jabbing here, hooking with this, and then I'm thrusting or coming up this way with it. So I can box with this, and my left hand is got the karambit, so I can hook with it, I could jab with it, and it's pretty cool.
Correct.
I mean, the best of two worlds, of both worlds, rather.
So and now the beauty is, and there's so many ways. People, there's a lot of arguments or discussions in groups about which is the best way to hold a knife. Ice pick, Pakal. If you're gonna do it, one thing, ice pick is very simple. You rip it like this, but the best way to do it is cap the top, right? Because should you impact something, you hit bone, it's hard. Your hand could slice your hand.
Right.
This is a universal, whether you do it blade out or blade in, right? Cap that puño, right? That's easy. It's very straightforward, right? With folders, right? It depends. Some folders allow for it, right? So this folder, this had a puño, right? And I could kind of cap it, but it could actually hurt me because of the pointiness of the puño, right? So whether blade out or blade in, this could be painful to me either way. Of course, if you're a special ops guy and you're wearing gloves, it probably wouldn't even really matter, and in the heat of the moment doesn't really matter as much. It also depends on how you were able to pull and deploy it. If you happen to be, again, in a forward grip, this has reach. Now here you have your hammer grip, right? You have the thumb forward along the spine of the knife, right? If it's not double edged, this is perfectly fine, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's this one where you point. A lot of guys like GT and myself and some people who do knife work might do this because it points. Some people say, "Well, your finger is going to prevent the knife from going all the way in." I got 3 inches of going into an opponent if I had to. I'm pretty sure my finger won't be an issue, right? Yeah. But again, it really depends. For me, why do this? I like accuracy. I like being pinpoint with this. I can get very accurate with this than with this. But again, it's a knife. You cut a person, it's gonna hurt them. That's the reality. So it doesn't really matter. People just have preferences. So neither one is better or worse. It's a preference.
So we have fixed blades. All right. Again, this is a really big knife, but that's a fixed blade. You have our folders, right? Folding knife, and then we have the karambit, and then we have some other unique ones. And you know which one's my favorite?
Well, I have this.
The balisong. Well, the balisong is my favorite. I like it because it's fun to work with. It's fun to deploy. It's fun to practice with. This is a live blade, but okay, I'll stand up a little bit here to do this. But this deploys like that. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Guro, but for the people watching, it's a single blade. It's got 2 handles. It folds up, commonly known as a gravity knife here in the States, and it just deploys by gravity. Okay. I love this knife. It's fun to play with. You can do a lot. We can trap with it, right, Guro? We can go hammer grip. We can go.
Hold on, you're lagging. You're lagging a little bit. No. Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can. So with this, I can go either with a hammer grip, or I can even go with an ice pick. I'm sorry. Yeah.
This hammer grip. The other one was
hammer grip. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. So hammer grip, and then I could also deploy it into the ice pick grip here. And that's the beauty of this knife. Really cool. There's all kinds of different angles you can work with it. And I spent a lot of time, as I know you did as well, learning all the different angles of deployment. And then this is a pretty cool little knife here. This is called clinch knife, and it's made by Craig Douglas, who's an ex undercover cop. And what's unique about this is the top of the blade is sharp. This is dull, the top of the blade. And the reason they do that, or he did it, was because sometimes you may be in a situation in law enforcement or in the military where you're in a vehicle or someone pinned your arm and you're wearing this, you have this here, and if your arm is pinned, you can still just turn your hips and deploy the weapon and be able to utilize it that way. So it's a very short blade. Again, it's a top edge. So I would utilize it in this fashion in the ice pick grip. So I'm gonna thrust and slash like that.
Yeah, it's all for hooking.
Pretty unique little knife there. And again, that's Craig Douglas. He calls this a clinch pick. And then similar to that, in terms of smaller knives, it's you can wear on your, if you're in military or law enforcement, on your kit,
TDI,
or on your belt. Yeah, and this is a pretty neat little knife. This is by K-Bar, and again, it's a really small blade. What's it, 2 inches maybe, something like that?
Yeah, 2.5 inch. Yeah,
it's got
I have one.
Really strong grip. So again, you're not going to, generally speak, you can use this grip, all right, but I think it's better utilized here because you can get in there and scramble the eggs, as we like to talk about.
So that was because it was specifically targeted towards the law enforcement community because it's that same draw action because of the gun, the angle, the handle, the way it's designed, so you could just grab. It's similar to like it's a push dagger. It's a push dagger, a punch knife. It's instead of trying to grip top and bottom of it, right? Correct. Instead of trying to grip that, and there's many types and options.
This is the traditional push dagger, you know, and this is a really, really strong grip. I mean, it'd be difficult to lose this knife if you're working it.
The
again,
problem,
it's just, it could
the
be.
problem. Well, the problem with the push knives that I don't like is generally the grip. So if you actually look at like, Tuan Jadwong, he had his push dagger knife that came out recently. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm escaping it, unfortunately. But the way it's designed was almost like a pistol grip, but it's not centered in the middle. Right? It's actually giving you more like an off centering of the grip. So it's more like it's really pushing between either the top, the forefinger and the middle finger in order to grab it, and the handle is a little bit more ergonomical. Part of the reason why I like that one, but it's not a direct middle punch down the middle, like most punch daggers. But in terms of grip, actually, when we were talking about the knives earlier, when you were here, that's one of the better ones that I like to grab in terms of a punch dagger.
It's a very strong grip.
Right.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. And the TDI is just there's no mistake. All you just wherever you have it, however you load
pop
it.
That out. It's again really strong little knife. You can do a lot of damage with this, and it's a pretty good carry because it's small. It's not going to print. You're not going to have any fabric stress on your clothing. Now, see this one here? I didn't show you this one yet, Royce. This is, believe it or not, it's a company called Juice Wind. It's not a great knife, but I like the. So this goes on your back, on your belt. So it would be facing. Here's my back, and I'd reach around and just deploy this thing. And again, it's a nice little blade. It's not really the best quality, but it's got a good grip. It's firm, and I like the fact that this is going to go on your back, on the small of your back, and you just reach around and deploy that thing. Because one of the things that we can learn all the different angles and slashing and thrusting patterns and deployments with the balisong, but if you can't get the knife out to utilize it, it's not going to be any good to you. And that's one of the things is ease of deployment and how quickly you can get that knife out. This one here is another K-Bar knife, and it's sort of like a karambit in the sense that you have a retainer ring, but it doesn't have the eagle claw or the grip. That it's more of a straighter profile. But this knife is great. It's again really strong grip. Either grip you want to utilize, it's really strong. The only thing that I don't like about it, the sheath is really not the best.
Yeah.
And that's
like
one of the problems with
that.
a lot of these knives is the sheath. Because again, if you can't get the knife out, or if you can't get it out, or it comes out too easily, you could end up in big trouble with it.
Right. One of my see, like I know we would kind of put this on today. I thought I brought it with me. I thought I had my Bastinelli Sin. It's actually a really nice knife. Actually, I like their sheaths. They're very good sheaths.
Yeah.
The knife itself, the Sin, is amongst one of my favorite designs that they have. It's a good grip, a good knife. And you have something like the what the hell? Sorry, the Salisky knife.
Mm-hmm.
Where what's really cool with this is that it's magnetic, so it's good for not losing it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of the Kydex sheath that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and you can kind of set it to be able to hang. It came with this belt piece here, so you can kind of get it to hang off your belt like this and do a side draw. You can,
Right.
or I assume that you can do it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this. So you like a traditional belt loop kind of thing. But I would probably get have someone custom a Kydex sheath for me, preferably.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you. There are people that will make you custom Kydex sheaths, because some of these knives I really like. I just don't like the sheath, and that's why, like I said, this one is great. I love it, but this sheath, if you put it in there, if you really lock it in, it's a pretty hard pull to get it out. And again, you want weapon retention so the bad guy doesn't get your weapon, but at the same time, you also have to be able to get it out to go to work. So
Yeah.
it's a fine line sometimes.
No, here's the funny thing with most things like this, right? And I carry my Sin the same way. I don't really. Sometimes I might have it on my belt, but I can literally put it in my pocket. And a lot of people don't know. Oh, shoot, I'm short.
Yeah.
So when I reach into my pocket, trying to get this angle with this camera here. When I reach into my pocket, right, I don't have to pull and draw and grab on my hip. I can just reach into my pocket. If I don't know the situation, they can't tell what I have. I can just pull it.
Yeah.
With the sheaths will allow for it to hook on the pants. I don't need no nifty wave clip thingy mabobber. It's happened.
Yeah.
Right. It's there. I can also
Exactly.
just. This is designed to be. I think this was designed to be loose on purpose because of the magnet. Because you could just push it and draw it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the knives, I can literally I like to kind of fling the sheath at my opponent as a distraction. A lot of people don't know you can do that. I can just pop and fling it, and it's pretty distracting. It throws people off when you throw it out, your blade's already deployed.
Yeah, it's a good, like you said, diversion, and they don't know the blade's coming. And I don't want to get too hung up on points, but you and I were talking a while back. Jay Wadsworth, who's with PFC, he's a 20-plus year law enforcement, and he's a black belt BJJ, and he teaches tactical. And he showed me. We did some work together in July. A different way of deploying it, and whether it's a handgun or it's a knife. And see if I can pull this off here on the side. But instead of, let me see if I can get this here. And so if I have a weapon here, instead of having to move my left hand over, grab the shirt, and deploy, what he's doing is he's using one hand, coming forward with the shirt, but deploying at the same time, and it just comes right out. It's a lot quicker. It's a lot smoother.
Yeah, you can do that. There's some that also. I don't have my belt clip, but when you do it, you could just drive it like that. Just
Right.
like you're doing, like in the deployment of a gun, you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. But if I do it maybe like this, right? So I could over the handle or under or forward on the handle. It doesn't really matter because it's gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you drive it, once you hook it over, you instant grab and deployment on the blade. It's and again, no need to aim. You just kind of project forward. A lot of options. You know.
So I think probably we should have prefaced this whole conversation with the fact that Kali is an art. We teach this, we learn it, we teach it to military and law enforcement. Private citizens, every state's different, and you should really look into your local laws if you're going to carry a knife. In New Jersey, quite frankly, all of this is illegal to carry, every bit of it. I think the law reads if you're carrying a knife, you have to have a legitimate reason as to why you're carrying it. You can't just say, "Well, it's a little shady, so I'm just trying to protect myself." That said, just be aware of your local laws.
Yes. And it's messed up because certain rules, laws, regulations are extremely unfair. Half the reason why there was a ban on butterfly knives for so long, right, was because some legislators saw it in a movie, it looks scary, I'm gonna ban it, basically, kind of thing. And it's and it's actually the and even though you get really good with it, deploying a butterfly knife to blade out is significantly slower than just pulling a fixed
straight blade. Yeah.
No
question.
But no matter how good you are, and maybe you're faster than the average person if you're really super skilled at it, at the same time, it's by milliseconds. It's hardly a barometer to judge which is mass or not.
If you are attacked, and I don't want to get into this is really about knife review, but most knife attacks, when the bad guy attacks a good guy, it's within 8 feet. And that's less than a second and a half they can be on you. So you would never have time to deploy a battle song to defend yourself. You better pull a straight blade right out, or what.
Well, if you're some people are fixated on the whole blade, but the first thing you need to do, especially when talking like a ballad song, right? First things first is get it out. You have blunt force trauma. You can use it as well, what are you gonna do with it? Well, back in the day, you used to walk around with rolls of quarters in your hand, and not just for punching. You could just hit somebody with it. So it's no different than right. You can get this.
So one of my latest hobbies, probably for about a year or so, on and off, weather dependent, is throwing knives. I love throwing knives. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. But my throwing knives aren't really practical because they're specifically made for throwing. So I did a little research and I came up with this. This is SOG.
Yes.
So it's a tactical knife. It's a pretty decent knife. I mean, it's a one piece, really, with just some cord on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a nice little, either grip you want to use. It's pretty strong, but it is a throwing knife.
Yeah.
Because
here's the thing with throwing knife. One, any knife can be thrown, just not always accurate like a throwing knife. Unless you're skilled at picking anything up and tossing it, and being like a bullseye. The comic book character, throw anything and use it to hurt anybody. With that said, a throwing knife can be just before you throw it, you can still pull it and use it, and then throw it if you have to, right? So there's no limitation to it. The only thing that's going to be different, like say something like this.
Well, you're not going to be throwing this thing because this thing weighs a bit. I mean, if you did throw this, you might just knock them out, even if it hits from this end because it's so freaking heavy. But it's obviously. And again, the throwing of the knife, I mean, it's kind of cool. It'd be cool in a movie and stuff. But in reality, why would you throw your knife? Because you just gave away your weapon. You better make sure that you defended yourself with the first throw.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, the movies are cool. Like this one, right? This was a gift from one of my close friends, Guro Steve, and for Christmas, this past year. Was it Christmas or my birthday? One of the two. But can't keep track. This is actually you might notice the name, the Tatang. right there from
Yeah.
like
Yep.
Tatang Illustrissimo, from Kelly's Illustrissimo, and I think this was commissioned with that name, and in collaboration with Black Hawk Blades.
Mhm.
There weren't many left, so he bought the last two, one for me, one for him. This is actually a great blade. It was from what I can tell. I didn't look into it. I have to look into it. It was based off of the oh Jesus Christ! I hate when I lose the name. Is a barong, Filipino blade called the barong, which is more of a like a leaf style blade, but it's more streamlined. This is definitely not legal to carry around. It's a double edge, but this is a great tool in the field, in the forest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you can pick this up as like the way the kind of like Filipino blades are, have that kind of hook to it, right? For grip,
Retention.
right? Textured, which is nice. Obviously, full tang all the way through, right? Good grip. I could grab into here if necessary for kind of a more pistol grip for a more pulling action. And this is all jimpinged up on the side, so I can grab pretty decently, and I'm not gonna lose this sucker, right? So this is great if I'm gonna hack and chop at a branch or a wood or skin something.
Yeah, I've been in the woods with this thing, and this K-bar, like I said, Guru, I don't know if I brought it to school yet. It's really heavy, but it's good for hacking a limb off and then shaving it down to start a fire. This is a really nice weapon. I'm sorry, tool, not a weapon.
Yeah,
it's a really nice tool.
Remember, guys, he's talking about hacking a tree limb, not a person's limb. Okay, guys.
Yeah, again, I just want to reiterate, this is an art. This is what we enjoy. We like knives. We do teach military. We do teach law enforcement. They have a different purpose. They're looking to
survive.
Use it offensively, survive. Yeah. And we might as well touch base on it. This is Jared's new knife, Jared Wahangi. It's pretty tough to get out, but again, we were talking about this knife today. We like it. We're not crazy about it. But again, it's like it fits everybody's need. If it fits your need, it's great. You could use either the hammer or ice pick grip with this blade, and it is double edged. So I'm sure this would be illegal in New Jersey because it is a double edged blade. And as you can see, it's got pretty much a unique. This is almost karambit like at the end on the side for kind of tearing and ripping.
So because of the unique design, it's like a fully edged on one side, which is what most people would consider the back edge, but actually for what I can see, the penetration and rending, especially if you have it in your ice pick grip. We were talking about that before. And then if I use the retention ring, I could use it to flail as an impact weapon if necessary. But the very edge of the weapon is on the back of the blade, on the tip, where this is a mock double edge. That one is not sharpened there, whereas this is sharpened on it. Which is, I can understand why they did that, because you pull it out and you hook, you can still fillet and rend with the back edge of the blade. So where you have on the so I'll use this since it's similar. So on your knife, right, on Jared's knife, like this is the sharpened point here. This is all sharp, right? And this curve here is actually blunted. It's actually not edged, and then it's sharp down here. So when it happens is when you do like a hooking action, this would kind of fillet.
Follow the fillet.
Yeah. This would be extremely painful compliancy if you're doing a capture and a trap with the back end of it. I'm sure they'll get the idea on point and stop. Again, not always going to happen. People do wear clothes or multiple layers of clothes, so it's not going to always cut right away. Piercing always thrusting and piercing does more damage going in through multiple layers than trying to slice through it all.
And again, I just got this Saturday. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but the one thing I do like about it, it comes with the trainer is steel, and it's the same weight, so you don't have a difference when you're training with the trainer. And when I say trainer, for those that don't know, there's no edge. So you practice with the trainer, and then you use the live blade in real world. Which brings me to my next question, Guru. we have a wide array in front of me, and I'm sure in front of you, of price points on all these knives. So, for instance, this particular knife that I do like, this is the K-bar. Again, this was like $70, maybe $80, something like that. Whereas my favorite knife, this was $265, $275, something like that. And the difference is the steel, right?
Yeah.
Quality of the steel. Also, the inside is on this one is titanium, so it's really, really smooth and kind of hard to demonstrate. I'll try, but Royce, you know this, but this is the wave. It kind of deploys as you pull up. Of course, it won't do it now because I'm trying to demonstrate, but it'll open up if you pull back on a proper angle here. And catch it. And
Yep.
there you go. I got everybody on that one.
So and
You
again,
got knives flying all over the place here.
so with the wave, and it's a great technology. It's been put on a lot of knives of late, and there's some good ones.
Yeah, this is Emerson. Emerson makes pretty much all tactical knives. He does do some camping and stuff, but this is so the story on this particular knife was a bunch of guys went into Emerson with a knife design that they asked if he could make it for them, and they told him that they were deep sea divers, kind of. So what it really turned out to be was SEAL Team 6, and this was their everyday carry. SEAL Team 6 wore this knife. In fact, Bill Brown, a good friend of mine who was a team guy, he told me that when you graduate buds now, you get this knife, and they put your class number on the knife. This is my favorite knife. This is my everyday carry. It's always in my pocket. Really good at opening packages, but again, it's a really I love the grip. It's a good strong grip, whether you go hammer or if you go ice pick. It's really strong. This is textured. This is like shark skin, and it's just a really good, strong quality knife. I mean, you could literally shave with this if you wanted to.
Oh.
What's your favorite knife, Royce? What's your everyday carry? What's the one that you think just you feel comfortable with and enjoy?
Right now, and I've had a number of knives, and if we ever do this again in advance, I'll do it like from home because I can show
Okay.
a lot more. But like the Bassinelli Sin has actually been one of my favorites to carry right now. My daily carry usually was this, right? I need a new pouch for this, but the clip broke off, the belt clip, but it was cheap anyway, and I didn't really care for it. I prefer it without it, so I removed the broken piece, and this is very solid. The handle on this is it's metal. This is right. So this sucker's heavy, right? It's old. I checked Strider. I don't see anything of this. So this could have been a knockoff, or it could have been made a long time ago, and they don't make it no more. It's not sure about the steel, but it's good quality. It needs a sharpener. It's a liner lock. And one problem with liner locks is over time, sometimes they jam up or break. But this has been pretty solid for, I don't know, 10 years or so.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say, if you spend the money, they will last a lot longer. It's funny. I have this. This is a Gerber, which is a really inexpensive. This is probably like $40. But I love this little knife. I mean, it's a Foley knife, and I keep it on my desk because this is great for opening up packages and anything like that. But I'll tell you what, that's a pretty tough little knife to use on someone too. It's a shorter blade. It's really sharp. Gerber holds a really good edge. It's good in the woods too because you do have this serrated part here if you need to do any sawing. But in terms of just sitting around the house by my desk, it's great to open up packages. And this thing's been around. I've had this for quite a while now.
Yeah. Now, this I'm kind of liking so far of carrying, so it might be a nice option for my Bastinelli. But
Yeah.
you knew about it. Not a lot of people do know about it, but it looks like it's done.
Yeah.
Right? Oops. Right.
So this is the knife that you're designing and you have in production, correct?
Right. This
Yeah.
is the
Beautiful.
initial
I love it.
prototype. This was designed by this is designed in collaboration with Wes Atkins. I drew the initial design and I sent it to him. I scanned it and sent it to him, and he implemented it. And we had some snags, but wonderful, uh, wonderful what's called COVID times that we were in.
Yeah.
So you see this, yeah. So you can see. I can't wait to get this in my hands. We can do a review of this later.
Oh
This
yeah.
is designed specifically, um, very generalized in a sense, but at the same time, kind of ideally for kind of any grip. But I can pull it. This is more of a personal blade, but a lot of people have been asking me about production of it. So this is the initial prototype. I'm probably gonna do a limited run of it with Wes, and if
Hmm.
people like it, maybe we can look at more. I have another design I'm working on for more Leo, and um, it's gonna have two variations: a blade variation and a tool variation, which is gonna be geared towards anybody who wants something that they could utilize as a weapon without it being lethal. Um, but it's still going to be able to be taken in anything such as law enforcement or first responders. It's not going to be all scary knife looking, but it's going to be very practical, pragmatic, easy to draw, straightforward, and very effective in terms of personal defense, of course. But again, you're talking about a long piece of metal with an edge. Anything generally
Anything
does.
works. And that kind of brings me to my next point. Let me hold on 1 second. So a while back, I was listening to Ed Calderon, who was a narco cop down in Mexico, and he does a lot of speaking out to law enforcement, military on different things. But he said that, and
Look at that handle,
oh
carbon
yeah,
fiber
that's
handle.
really cool. Yeah, but
Really can't wait to get this in my hands.
I can't wait to see it. So, but strictly for self-defense, this little paring knife,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy, but I just love the way this thing feels. It's a short little blade. You can get in there and scramble some eggs on somebody's chest. You can do whatever you want with it. And this is part of our kitchen set here. Beth would probably be upset if she knew I thought of using this for other things other than a pair. But anyhow, the point is, this is what we do. This is like our art. We're really interested in all different types of knives from varying degrees, and but this would be just as effective. And
Mm-hmm.
the point is, when I watched Ed talking about it, he said, obviously when you travel domestically or overseas, I can't put this in my bag. It's going to get confiscated. I can't carry this on my person. It's going to get confiscated. But when you land, and if you're in a sketchy area or you just want to feel a little bit more comfortable in your hotel room at night, go to the grocery store and look to get a nice little paring knife like that and feel it in your hand. And if it feels comfortable, it's a good tool. It's a good self-defense tool to have in that hotel room or on your body. But yeah, this is a pretty cool little knife. I like this.
Yeah. The one thing people when you travel, I thought about so many different things. So one thing that we do is like when I travel and we're in a room or whatever. Sometimes if you ever order out or do room service,
Steak. Yeah.
right? The steak or any kind of meat you're ordering, they're gonna give you a knife to use for the steak. It's not gonna be plastic. So
Right.
so it's like all right, and
Yeah.
you keep it
Yeah.
you keep it there, and you keep then clean it off, put it in the dresser next to the bed, So you have something. There's always something you can utilize.
Well,
People
that's
don't realize.
getting away from the knife review, but just conceptually and from a global standpoint, um, anything can be used, and this is part of the Filipino or the Pakiti and the Kali in particular philosophy. Everything's a potential improvised weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use a pen, you could use toothbrush.
Use my toothpick.
Toothpick.
Man, all I need to do is pierce your.
Yeah.
And just
But again, I just want to reiterate: this is our art. This is what we do. It's part of our training. We don't walk around with all these knives on our bodies. Right? We just don't. This is strictly when we teach this or we talk about this. This is for law enforcement or the military, strictly. However,
there are people who are crazy.
Yeah. And the
Very
thing
psychotic,
is, again, I don't want to. Again, this is a knife review. I don't want to get into the whole philosophy of knives. But for anybody wondering out there, bad guys are going to carry knives. Bad guys are going to carry guns.
Mm-hmm.
A knife can be more dangerous than a gun because, again, it doesn't jam. It doesn't need to be reloaded. It can be used immediately close quarters. And I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that. But in any event, so again, I just want to say that this Emerson, this is my favorite knife out of all these. I have more knives elsewhere in the house, but this is my favorite one. I think for fun, the Balasang is my second favorite knife. Just so much fun to play with.
Mm-hmm. I'm partial to fixed blades that have not like the traditional, like old school, like a Fairbairn knife where it's as a center hilt and pummel. Right. I like something that's along the one edge because to me this is very comfortable to me. Probably because I'm a small guy with small hands. This is very comfortable, easy to grip, and so part of the reason why I gravitated to this because it caught my eye on the table because this is a boot knife apparently. I used to have a old military boot knife a long time ago, but that's a long story.
Well, that's the other thing we didn't discuss, but boot knives obviously go on your ankle, and the other one's a necklace knife. Mine's over there. I don't want to go get it but anyhow, they just hang and you just pull down and deploy, and it's usually a smaller knife. Yeah. The only problem with those that necklace can be used against you too. If somebody grabs that and starts to strangle you with it.
Well, it's when it's done right. Like those, like some people use a cord, right? Mm-hmm. Like the one I had, a lot of them come with are those little beaded chain necklaces.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be used against you, but not very well because that will break. That breaks off. Yeah. I gave some out as a gift, right? During the holidays, and one I did not give out. I ended up keeping it for myself is because it came with a broken necklace, and I'm not going to contact the seller, whatever. You gave me a broken necklace and whatever. Right. It's like what, 5 cents, whatever. Yeah. So I'm not going to, gripe about it. So I tend to keep it in my pocket. That's when I like to, I showed you before. I can flick that sucker off and pop, and I'm ready to deploy it. And it's a tiny little blade like this, a very similar concept to what I was talking about before. And when I saw it, I was like, see that, just a little bit longer variation, but that's something I'm gonna have. There are certain aspects like when you see the knife, like the knife I just had commissioned that's finally completed. Thank God. Thank you again, Wes, and Wes Adkins and Wes Adkins knife works. He's fabulous. So his thing is wesadkinswoodenknife.com, and it's the way I designed it is kind of a multi-stage in terms of gripping. So sort of similar to this big sucker here, not this one, but in a sense, kind of like this, where it has this kind of grip to it. But the handle is a little bit more ergonomical in a sense, in the way I designed it, and it should be the same way once I put it in my hands. So far, his reviews have been great.
Yeah, that's why. As far I don't, believe it or not, other than my T grip and my K bar, this is the only. I think the only fixed blade well, except for my throwing knives. All the rest are folding. Well, the karambit's fixed, but I like this a lot.
Hi guys, how you doing?
I just don't like the sheath, and I'm gonna have to get a better sheath design. But this is a nice. This is a really strong grip.
No problem. Hold on 1 second, Mark.
Yeah. So, guys, while I'm alone here, because Royce is about to start a class up at his school. Royce is located. The name of his school is Nomad Cali Combat and Fitness. It's in the Palisades Mall up in West Nyack, New York. You're not going to find a better teacher, instructor, friend in the area than Royce. He's got 35 years experience, both in Filipino martial arts and some other martial arts. And again, all of this is art. We don't go out and practice this on people. Royce, so just if anybody wants to get, yeah. So I'm going to let you go because I know you have a class coming in, but I just let everybody know. So it's Nomad Cali Combat and Fitness in the West Nyack in the Palisades Mall. Tell us everything you do there, Royce.
So everybody who does not know, so we are located on the second floor of the Palisades Center Mall. We've been around for actually quite a while, but we just moved here in October of 2019 and opened up then. Then, of course, we all know COVID. And then now things have been up and running since last July. And it's been very fair. One little over a good full solid year open. We have a lot of great people. We train Bikini Sakali, which is a core of our school. And we also do what's known as Kaiju Kembo. It's a you could look at it as like the grandfather of America's mixed martial arts world, predating Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. It started in the 1940s. It has elements of Tang Soo Do, which is Korean karate, Japanese Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, Hawaiian Kempo, and Chuan Fa. Back then was considered, Chinese boxing. It has Kaiju Kembo with the portmanteau, which means karate, judo, Kempo, and boxing. Since then, it was an art designed by, not by one single person, but it was headed by Adrian Imperato, and he had 4 or 5 other friends who were black belts that they got together and helped them, and they developed this art to go beyond their black belt training. It's a very, very intense, very strong art. I strongly recommend it for anyone who wants to take it up a notch. But in terms of their traditional arts, it's still good for teaching the foundations. We also teach combat jiu-jitsu, the Yoshitsune from the Yoshitsune Dojo in New Jersey under Soki Michael Di Pasquale. It's a great complementive art to anything you do. So traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu with takedown and street to ground works, and it's a very good art. My associate, he's the one who's in charge of the Kaiju Kembo and combat jiu-jitsu. Recently promoted Shihan Frankie DeMario. He handles that. We have a great fitness program, and we also have a program where we teach the kids for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up. We have full range training for them, and we teach them just like in Kali. Not just the traditional stuff, but also the Kali. They start off in the beginning. Most traditional arts will wait till you're like brown belt, black belt to start teaching you how to use weapons, because it's trying to keep the kids like, ooh, this is a goal. We kind of give it to them because it helps with the coordination, hand and eye coordination, and it's designed to develop those attributes, and also kind of desensitize them at an early age to understand concepts of angles and strikes coming in to and from you. So it's a great program. Again, you can find us here at Palisades Center Mall. You can get to us from Route 59 or the Thruway or Palisades, to either one of those two. And it's easy to get to. Lots of parking, and when you come here and you get hungry, a lot of food too. So
yeah, no, I prefaced when you I had to go away for a second. That I feel very fortunate and blessed to find you in your school because it's an enormous amount of fun. It's another compliment to my boxing, and I think it really complements any sport. If you're not an athlete, it still complements your coordination because it's both hands, it's both feet, it's multi-directional, multi-angle. You're not locked into one plane of action, so to speak. It's a lot of fun and it's very rewarding. And appreciate your time, Guru. I'm sitting here looking at about 15 different knives on my desk here, and actually the only knife I'll be using tonight is when I'm cutting up the chicken.
No problem. Again, thank you for having me. And of course, we
Always.
love having you here. You're a great compliment, and the insight that you've helped some of the guide with in terms of striking is always valuable. It's in us. When you're used to doing something, we tend to provide.
Yeah. Well, one thing about the martial arts,
really appreciate
is a family. It's a tribe. So we're all here to help each other and learn. So, all right, Guru.
Yeah. So
we'll have you on next time, and maybe next time we'll talk about the bigger blades. All right, swords and
absolutely,
the bolo and all the different type of Chinese, Japanese, Filipino longer weapons, which is always fun. So, all right, guys,
that'll be fun.
Guru,
I definitely look forward to it.
Thank you once again. I will see you tomorrow, and you have a great evening.
You too. Thank you, and take care. See you tomorrow, I guess.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Guru.
All right.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.